A reasonable consideration for the rights or feelings of others is a foundation of social conduct. So, we have to accept others' interest. We have to understand others' feelings. Then only we all become a social animal. So it is commonly alleged against women that in this respect they are less civilized than men. So, in our writer's opinion, women are the one who are, less considerate, or they are considered as less civilized than men. And I am bound to confess that in my experience, it is a woman, the well dressed woman, who thrusts herself in front of you at the ticket office. So, our writer confesses that, according to his experience, it is a woman, particularly the well dressed woman who, appears to be very much elegant and graceful, is the one who pushes herself in front, who pushes you. If you are standing in a queue, or in front of a ticket office, it is a most elegant woman who will push you at the front. So they don't according to our writer, they don't have any, women is the one who don't have any feelings for others. The man would not attempt it, partly because he knows a thing that would not be tolerated from him, but also because he has been better drilled in the small give and take of social relationships. So, why our writer tells that women is less civilized than men? Because men have already experienced these kind of things. Men will not attempt to do these kinds of things because he knows the thing, it would not be tolerated from him. If he is the victim, or he is being pushed by the other person, he will not tolerate it. Then of course he will not do it on others. But also because he has been better drilled, he has experienced the small give and take policy of society. So our writer says that women does not have any social manners. So he has lived more in the broad current of the world, where you have to learn to accommodate yourself to the general standard of conduct, and his school life, his club life, and his games have in this respect given him a training that women are only now beginning to enjoy. So, why this happened? Because it is only just now that women came front in line. Women are just now beginning to enjoy these kind of things. It's now recently only women are in, coming to the front line position in the society. That's why everything is new for them. So they are trying to be always, showy, and pushing others. They always want to be front in line. But men, they have already experienced things, they have lived more in the broad current of the world, and they know how to behave in each situation, how to accommodate, or how to present themselves, how to behave, even if it is in school life, in club life, or when you are in his games. So in that case, women need more training, because now women has only begun to enjoy these things. So she is considered to be less civilized than men by our writer. I believe that the rights of small people and quiet people are as important to preserve as the rights of small nationalities. So every people are important. Mm. It's not only that we should preserve the rights of big nationalities. We have also the right to consider small people. Small people means, poor people, quiet people, introvert people. They also have rights. Inferior. when compared to the dominant people, the authorities, small nationalities, the masses, the people's rights and interest also should be preserved. When I hear the aggressive bullying horn, which some motorists deliberately use, you all have heard these. The motorists use these bikes without any silencers, and they deliberately use the horn. So I confess that I feel something boiling up in me, which is very like what I felt when Germany came trampling like a bully over Belgium. So whenever our writer hears this horn, he he feels something very something a pressure in him. His blood boils up, and which will you know feel like when Germany came trampling. Trampling means to treat with contempt, to crush people. When Germany crushed Belgium. So, why these motorists are doing this? It's like creating a sound pollution, contributing to the sound pollution. It's their liberty to use that much horn and noise. But what about the other people's peace of mind? It will be very arrogant for other people. Annoyance. So, by what right, my dear sir, do you go along our highways uttering that hideous curse on all who impede your path? So, highways, roads, and path are for everyone, right? So, why should they care about only their liberty? So, cannot you announce your coming like a gentleman? So, they just want to show their presence that they are coming by using this horn. So, what's the need of this announcement? Cannot you take your turn? Just go, just drive. Why use this horn? Are you someone in particular, or are you simply a hot gospeler of the prophet Nietzsche? Are you a very important VIP, very important, particular person to announce that you are coming using this horn? Or are you simply a hot gospeler? Gospeler means a person who teaches or professes faith in the gospels, very prophet like person, like Nietzsche. I find myself wondering what sort of a person it is who can sit behind that hog like outrage without realizing that he is a spirit of Prussia incarnate and a very ugly spectacle in a civilized world. So, those who all are riding this kind of bikes, or those who all are sitting at the back, they are just the ugly people, ugly spectacle in the civilized world. So, why can't they realize it? So our writer is wondering what sort of a person people are these who can sit behind that hog like outrage. It's a kind of a greedy or selfish activity from those people. So they are not realizing what they are doing. They think that they are a very important person. They are the spirit of Prussia. Prussia is a historically prominent German state. So they consider themselves as something important, but in reality, they are the ugly spectacle in the civilized world. And there is a more harmless person who has bought a very blatant gramophone. Means noisy. And on Sunday afternoon sets the thing going, opens the windows and fills the street with keep the home fires burning or some similar banality. Just like we saw the incident of a person who wants to play a trombone, just like this. Here is another harmless person who wants to play his noisy gramophone at the afternoon when people are in a small, nap. So he wants to open the windows and fill the street with the song Keep the Home Fires Burning, or similar kind of very, you know, unimportant songs or unoriginal songs. So, what are the right limits of social behavior in a matter of this sort? Hmm? So, where is your social decor? You have to know where you have to put the limit in your behavior. So, let us take the trombone. Yes, let us take the trombone as an illustration again. Hazlitt said that a man who wanted to learn that fearsome instrument was entitled to learn it in his own house, even though he was a nuisance to his neighbors, but it was his business to make the nuisance as slight as possible. Yes, if you want to learn to play that instrument, that fearsome trombone, it makes so much noise. That's why fearsome instrument. You can do it. You can do it inside your house, but without becoming a nuisance to your neighbors. So, your business is that you have to be a nuisance as light as possible. You should not disturb others. He must practice in the attic and shut the window. He can go upstairs at the attic, close all the windows and doors, and practice. There is no problem. He had no right to sit in front of his room, open the window, and blow his noise into his neighbor's ears with the maximum of violence. So, there, if he go to the attic and shut the window and then practice, he can keep, or he can assure his liberty and also others liberty of staying calm in a peaceful, in a solace atmosphere. So otherwise he has no right to sit in front of his room, open the every doors and windows and blow the noise to other neighbors ears with maximum noise. And so with the gramophone too. So these incidents are somewhat same. So if you like the gramophone, you are entitled to have it, but you are interfering with the liberties of your neighbors if you don't do what you can do to limit the noise to your own household. So if you want to practice and if you don't want to disturb others, what you can do it, you can limit the noise. You can limit the noise of the instrument and go inside a room, close every doors and windows and practice. Then it is okay. So your neighbors may not like keep the home fires burning, just like these songs. They may prefer to have their Sunday afternoon undisturbed, and it is as great an impertinence for you to wilfully trespass on their peace as it would be to go unasked into their gardens and trample on their flower beds. So, everyone wants a Sunday afternoon undisturbed, right? All will have a peaceful atmosphere. So, if you are exceeding the noise of your instrument, it will be a disturbance for them. So it's like you are trespassing their home and destroying their garden. And actually it is more than that. It is as great an impertinence. Impertinent means lack of respect, rudeness. It is a rude behavior from your part. If you trespass their peace of mind and without their permission, you are going into their gardens and crush their flower beds. So using your instrument at the very high voice, disturbing them, is a greater lack of respect than this destroying the garden. There are cases, of course, where the clash of liberty seems to defy compromise. So, in some cases, whenever these liberties overlap, when they clash, you have to compromise. Seems to defy compromise. That means both the parties, they will be not ready to compromise at all. My dear old friend X, it's not named, it's X, who lives in a western square and who is an amazing mixture of good nature and irascibility. Irascibility means a very irritable person, and he will get, he's short tempered. He will easily provoked to get anger. So he flies into a passion when he hears a street piano and rushes out to order it, away. So this is his ex. He's a very short-tempered person. So whenever he hears a noise which is disturbing for him, he will rush out and kick that person out. So, but nearby lives a distinguished lady of romantic picarous taste. Picarous means very adventurous type, of a rough and but appealing person. You have heard of Picaro's novels. So, who dotes on street pianos and attract them as wasps are attracted to a jar of jam. So, the thing is, one wants to hear the street piano and the other person don't want to hear the street piano. So, in this case, the old friend X don't like street piano, the noise of street piano, and the other lady is very much interested in street pianos, and whenever she hears a noise, just like the wasp get attracted to a jar of jam, she goes there and enjoy the music. So in this case, whose liberty in this case should surrender to the other? That means one enjoys the music and the other one don't enjoy. So in this case, what do you think, whose liberty should be preserved and whose should be surrendered? For the life of me, I cannot say, because it is their liberty. One don't want to hear music, that's his liberty, and the other person want to hear music, that's her liberty. So it is as reasonable to like street pianos as to dislike them. One don't like street piano and the other like, and vice versa. So I would give much to hear Sancho Panza's solution to such a nice riddle. So here there is no solution at all. One wants to kick away that person who plays the street piano and one wants to hear it. So here our writer will go for a solution from Sancho Panza. Do you know Sancho Panza? Sancho Panza is a character in the novel Don Quixote by Cervantes. So he is a very witty person. He will give solutions to very complex riddles. So our writer also will go for a solution to get a solution from Sancho Panza. He will give the perfect solution. So I suppose the fact is that we can be neither complete anarchist nor complete socialist in this complex world. The world is very complex. There are different people with different interest. So we cannot be complete anarchist. We cannot favor one thing and not complete socialist. So some way you have to compromise one or the other, or rather we must be a judicious mixture of both. We have to be 50-50 anarchist and socialist. We have both liberties to preserve our individual liberty and our social liberty. So, our individual liberty and also social liberty, both liberties must be preserved. For that, we have to become 50-50 anarchist and socialist. We must watch the bureaucrat on the one side and warn of the anarchist on the other. So the one side there will be an ordered person, the bureaucrat will be there, and in the other side there will be an opponent, an anarchist who only wants disorder. So it should be in a balanced manner. So I am neither a Marxist nor a Tolstoyan. Tolstoyan means one who follows Tolstoy, one who advocates and practices manual labor, simple life, non-resistance, etc. So our writer is saying that he is neither a Marxist nor a Tolstoyan, but a compromise. I shall not permit any authority to say that my child must go to this school or that, shall specialize in science or arts, shall play rugby or soccer. So, even if he's a father, he will not compel his child to go to the school, to study this subject, to play this sport. So, it is his interest. It is according to his liking that he will choose his school, whatever subject he wants to study, and whatever sport he is interested in. So, these things are personal. But if I proceed to say that my child shall have no education at all, that he shall be brought up as a primeval savage or at Mr. Fagin's Academy for pickpockets, then society will politely but firmly tell me that it has no use for primal savages and a very stern objection to pickpockets, and that my child must have a certain minimum of education whether I like it or not. So, this thing is what if he does not allow his child to take him, he is not taking him to school, he's not giving him education, and he's just, you know, molding his child to grow up as a savage, as a primitive person, or taking him to Mr. Fagin's Academy, of in Oliver Twist Fagin's Academy, to become a pickpocket. Then the society will object him, will politely but firmly tell him that you are doing wrong with this child, with your child. You should not do this. It's a very bad option, because to become a savage or to become a pickpocket means he will be of no worthy person to the society. At least he should have a minimum education. So, in that case, the father has no right to do this. So, I cannot have the liberty to be a nuisance to my neighbors or make my child a burden and danger to the commonwealth. So, if his child, become a pickpocket or a savage, it will be a nuisance to the neighbors and also to the whole society, to the whole country in the future. It will be that child will be a danger or a burden. So, decisions must be taken accordingly, as it should be taken, considering our individual liberty and also the social liberty. So, it is in the small matters of conduct, in the observance of the rule of the road, that we pass judgment upon ourselves and declare that we are civilized or uncivilized. Even small things matters, even if it is a rule of the road. From that, we can analyze our culture, how civilized we are or how uncivilized we are. We can pass judgment on others, but it is bad to judge others or criticize others. But rules are rules, you have to obey the rules. The great moments of heroism and sacrifice are rare. We are not saying that you should be heroic, you should sacrifice everything, but obey the rules. It is the little habits of commonplace intercourse that make up the great sum of life and sweeten or make bitter the journey. There are these small things, very little things, little habits that you have to take care of. It will be no harm for you. It will make your life and your journey more sweet. So I hope my friend in the railway carriage will reflect on this. So if the person who was making us so much pompous voice in the railway carriage, I think you remember the blue book incident. So if he reads this essay, now he will realize the importance of considering others' liberty too. Then he will not cease, I'm sure, to explain to his neighbor where French went wrong and where the Germans went ditto. But he will do it in a way that will permit me to read my blue book undisturbed. So, if he does a reflection on his own behavior, he will realize that he should give other permission to do whatever they like, and also not to become a nuisance for others. detailing everything about the politics and whatever he has in mind or the knowledge he want to share about the French or Germans, and allow allow our writer to read his blue book without any disturbance.